What is shaking? Golden Mike, episode 118. Today we're going to talk about this. Look me in the eye, people. Look me in the eye when I'm talking to you across Facebook. We're going to talk about this. See these thoughts that are going through your head? There's a danger in believing those thoughts. There's a danger in believing those thoughts. So today we have a certified mindset coach. We have a rapid transition therapist. We have a speaker who elicits awe, who elicits mesmer. We have the founder of the Litt Factor herself, Tracy Litt. Tracy Litt, how are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Oh, amazing.
It is amazing to have you on. Now, I was telling you, like, in our 10-second pre-show, the first time I ever saw you, like, you helped unlock the person that I've always wanted to be. And I want to do this. I want to do this with you. There is no music, but yeah, you would dance your way around.
That's right.
And you would just get people in their own thing. I love it.
That's right.
I love it.
There is nothing in life that a shimmy doesn't make feel better. Nothing. Nothing.
I love it. So we are going to be talking about the danger in believing everything you think today with Tracy Litt. It is episode 118. Tracy, do you know why it's episode 118?
I do not know.
Because you cannot cancel me. You cannot cancel me, people. I produce this show. You can't cancel me. 118
I love it.
episodes, and we finally have Tracy Litt on. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Mark Cordone. I'm founder of the Make Money Coaching Program, and I'm the Chief Disruptive Officer of a program called the Joy Revolution. But more importantly, I'm a positive psychologist, which means I get to do this on a regular basis. I see you, Carrie. I see you, Stephanie. I see into that machine. Which means I get to do this on a regular basis. I get to ask people and myself, how happy are you feeling today? And also, how much meaning and purpose are you living in today? So Tracy Litt, how happy are you today? And how much meaning and purpose are you living in today?
If it was scalable, I would be like in the fucking ether, okay? Because I am so happy, because happiness is a choice and it's an inside job. And that's actually the underbelly of not believing everything you think. But in terms of my meaning and my purpose, I wake up every day to do what I do. And it's beyond. It's beyond it. It's like living, when we talk about our dreams and actualizing our dreams and making them a reality. I'm like standing in it. Like I'm in it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, here's the thing. We're gonna play sing along with Mark and Tracy, because Tracy and I were once in bands, not together, competing against each other in different parts of the world. Jorge, we're gonna play a game with you. My therapy. We don't mean for this to be therapy, Jorge, but it might be therapeutic if you play along. Melvidge Mead, it's good to see you. Hell
hey,
yeah,
Mel.
you can say hell up in here. You can say hell up in here. For those of you who are living life, full happiness, full purpose, like the Litt Factor is today. Litt, I want you to put up a heart. There's a button down there. I want you to declare it. I want you to be proud of it. Because in a place where the status quo is just like being by and being okay, people have to declare that they're happy if we want to change history for the better, all right? So hit that heart, whether it's live or you're watching on the replay. Now, here's the other thing. Positive psychology. People think, oh, Litt and Cordone, 24/7 shits and giggles, Skittles raining from the sky. They're riding their Pegasus across the sky. It's Taco Tuesday every day, even though it's Thursday or Wednesday, whatever today is. No, wrong. Positive psychology is not about happiness 24/7. My boy Tal Ben-Shahar says it this way. If you're happy 24/7, you're either dead or you are a sociopath. Carrie, are you a sociopath or are you dead? I think not. We all feel the ups, downs, and all arounds of life. That is joy. That is happiness. And even though it doesn't feel like it, That's what it is. So if you're happy, or if you were happy last week and you're like, yo, Lit, I had some bad shellfish, I feel like shit today. That's cool. That's cool. Carrie is not a sociopath and not dead. It's a great thing to hear. Or if you're like, Lit Cordone, I lived in my purpose for 30 years doing a corporate job I love, and I'm starting to have some thoughts. I'm starting to have some thoughts that I'm bigger than this. Or I was in a relationship for 30 years, and now I'm doing our performance evaluation, and it's out. That's okay. That's a part of your hero's journey. Your heart beats just like Lit, myself, Carrie, Melvidge, Jorge, and everyone watching. So if you're feeling a little bit off today, understand that's your story and give us the thumbs up. Let Lit and I entertain you. And whatever goes through, just let it wash over. It might hit you later on. All right? And here's the last thing. Here's the last thing. Then we're going to get to Lit's story. The last thing is this. No matter whether you're a 10 or you're in the fucking ether with your happiness, whether you're a 0 or you're in the fucking ether with your purpose, if you know that today is going to be the best day of your life, there's another button down there for you. There's another button down there for you if you're optimistic and you're hopeful, because hope has been shown to be as powerful as IQ and EQ. So if you simply believe that today is going to be even better than the other days, go find it and go do it. And then hit that wow face, baby. So Tracy, show us what your wow face looks like in real life, baby. Show us. So Lit, I've been waiting a long time to do this with you, man. It's awesome having you on the show. I want to start out with this because we've never actually sat down and had this conversation before. What's your story?
I love this question. And at the same time, it's one of those like, okay, I was born on May 15th, 1977 in Brooklyn, New York, right? I am. So, you know, outside of understanding that that's where I was born and that's my birthday, you know, my story is one of choice and always being a warrior, regardless of what I was going through in life. There was something in me that knew I can respond to my circumstances like a victim and have it run my life, or I could respond in my choice and as a warrior and say, oh no, I'm not available for this. I'm going to take the lesson, apply it, and continue to move on, right? Mm-hmm. And those types of things were, you know, losing my mom when I was really, really young, becoming a single mom when my daughter was 8 months old, being in a relationship at one point in my life that was so toxic, I didn't recognize myself and nobody recognized who I was, and tons of other little triumphs throughout those more poignant ones, right? Mm-hmm. And I brought myself to a place of like, I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose because I'm not available to be powerless and be a victim of my circumstances, right? And so that is really kind of the underbelly of how I coach and what I teach. But then the part of my story that is also really important to mention, like, how did I get here? How did I become a certified mind coach and a rapid transformation therapist and do what I do? I was one of those people, like you said, if you're in corporate for years and, you know, your soul's getting sucked dry and you're slowly dying inside. That was me. And I spent almost 15 years as a vice president of people and culture for healthcare firms. And I mean, it was great, like fruitful. I made money. People liked me. I liked them. I was doing, if you were to look from the outside in, you'd be like, sweet, things are going great. But inside my soul was meh. Like, there's got to be more than this. I know that I was created for more than this. And there's more people I can help on a deeper, broader scale. So that led me into researching, how do I help? Where do I want to go with this? I want to go back to school. I want to really, really do something incredible that aligns with me. And that's when I found the coaching industry. And I researched it and sat in my own shit and fear for over 2 years. Which is another huge thing that I teach people how to fall in love with fear, right? Which is all part of mindset. Fear is just a part of your biology. So wrap your mind around it, people. You're not fearless. It's not a thing. Fear is biological, right?
Yep.
So I realized that. And then one night on a deck on the beach where I went away with my husband, we're going away this weekend, right? To celebrate our anniversary. I'm sitting there in silence, which take this right now. If you don't spend enough time in silence, start doing it right now. And I sat there and it was like a voice of, you are not getting to the end of your life and going down like this. Get your ass up and take the risk. And I walked inside, opened up my laptop. I was in conversation with the IPEC admissions director forever. And I was like, right. And I was just like, I'm in. And that was it. And started going back to school, did my thing, manifested a layoff from that job. That I was in.
That's usually what happens after mod
I was
2.
I was like the happiest sounding person to get laid off on the other end of the phone in the whole world. They're like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. At that point, be careful what you wish for, you know?
Well, you're like whether or not you believe in manifestation or not, like you need to, because it's simply it's creation, and we're creating all the time with your thoughts, which is why it's dangerous to believe everything you think. So it was absolutely just a creation of my own, and it freed me up.
So let me talk to you about those 2 years of sitting in shit for a second. It's what do you mean you were sitting in shit? It was almost like in your 15 years of working in one job, you had the realization that you wanted out, and it sounded like you got out.
I did.
And so I think a lot of people will be like, oh, what a privilege that is to have that kind of realization and then get out. And then it must have all been, again, shits and giggles once you get out, because there's freedom. There's the autonomy you wanted. But you're saying that you were in 2 years of shits.
Well, yes, I was in 2 years of total fear, paralyzed fear. And what it sounded like, right? Because our whole premise is about thought. That's what mindset work is. And the thoughts sounded like, who do you think you are to do this? What if it all goes to shit? What if it doesn't happen the way you want it to, right? What if it's the worst decision you ever make in your life? You can't really do this. This is not for you. It's for somebody else, right? So that was kind of, I call it like your fear reel. Like, what's the reel of fear sound like in your head? And for me, that's what it was. And I kept going like, oh, I can do this. And then backing up 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, keeping myself at that place, rationalizing, it's fine. I can totally stay here and do this. Maybe I'll learn a language or stimulate myself in some other way, right? It doesn't have to be a new career. And ultimately, I was just bullshitting myself, which is one of the things that we all need help with. That's why coaching is such a phenomenal profession, because you cannot see your own bullshit. Right? So, and so after a while, and then it was that night of silence where I had been sitting in that fear long enough that my whole system was like, okay, divine download, something has to give. Just that's it.
I wanted to ask you about that as well. Like this moment of, I don't know if it's clarity. I don't know if it's a download, whatever folks want to describe it as.
Sure.
Was this something that like you actually heard a voice, or was it something that it was a feeling of peace? Like, because a lot of people experience it differently.
Totally. It wasn't out of body or anything. It was more me hearing my own inner voice with this waft of certainty and calmness. I find that when you get certain, you get really peaceful, right? Because now you just know it's rolling its way towards you and you can stop freaking out. So it was that kind of, because I was so quiet and alone, and I think the setting, and I was on the ocean, and I had been asking for guidance. Like I was in a teeter-totter on the fence kind of place this past period of time. And then it was quiet enough and peaceful enough that the certainty came over me, and the voice was like, Trey, you are not getting to the end of your life and going down like this. Get up and take the fucking risk.
Hello, IPEC.
Literally, I cannot recall his name. I feel terrible. He was the admissions gentleman that I was dealing with the whole time. And I was just like, okay, I'm in, done. And I started the first mod like a couple months later.
Now for making that choice had there ever been a point that that fear reel started playing in your head again? Like, oh shit, I'm too far in now. And my goodness, I got to put myself out there. You know, like, was there ever a time once you made that decision on the dock, in the silence, hitting up IPEC, or was it smooth sailing after that point?
Okay. No, it's never smooth sailing after that point. You know, and I always say it like this, whether it comes to what's going on inside your mind or triumph and trauma in life, nobody's impressed with a story that has a trajectory that goes like this. Nobody's reading that book, right? Nobody. And to be human and have human experiences inherently means you're going like this. You referenced it as the hero's journey. A lot of people look at it that way, but it's just realizing it's about how you respond, right? And how you allow those human experiences and how you run your mind while it's all going on, right? So for me, the fear still happens. Like my book's coming out in May, and every time I get an email from my publisher, fear's like, "Hey girl, what's up? What's that going to say?" What's on the other end of that email?
MC? Right. You thought you could get rid of me on that dock, huh?
Exactly. But that's one of the biggest things I realized, and one of the areas of expertise that I share with people, because to say to yourself that it's a one and done is crazy. And to believe that fearlessness is possible is a huge disservice. Because our fear is biological and it's going to be there. And once you learn how to love it and dance with it, you will actually start to see it as an indication of your greatness and your up leveling. So I feel it all the time because I am pushing my edges out daily, right? The biggest.
I love when we fight.
Right. Right. Like you're always doing something greater, right? The only variable is fear doesn't show up the same way on the same thing. Because once you've done something, you have new evidence in your mind and your fear response doesn't get triggered the same way.
Well, let's go there for a second then. There is a purpose to fear, which would negate the notion that fearlessness, again, like just like being happy 24/7, you're a psychopath if you never feel fear in my mind, you know. So what is the true purpose of fear then?
Well, I believe that if we draw the distinction, the true purpose of fear, when we look at it from the standpoint of danger, is survival. Like, I mean, fear's true purpose is survival. And I think especially now that there's a consciousness revolution upon us and personal growth is becoming mainstream more and more every day, because let's just be clear, people, if you're not growing, you're dying. So cut the shit. Like, seriously, you want to know why you're stuck and why you're blocked, and you want to just treat the symptoms. Stop. It's because your soul and your body is trying to tell you something. It's time to shift. It's time to grow. It's time to expand. It's time to learn something about yourself. It's time for discovery. Right? So when it comes to fear in the context of the work that we do, the first thing is the distinction. Danger is fear for survival's sake. I'm at the beach, I'm going to go in the ocean, but I see some shark fins. Probably not going to go in the ocean. That's a dumb idea. That's helpful fear.
Not a time for Taco Tuesday. Not a time for Taco Tuesday.
I kind of always love Taco Tuesday. So just eat it on the sand. Just not Taco Tuesday in the water.
On the sand, baby.
Right?
Yeah.
So then once you can understand that there's a variance there, fear for danger versus giving your power away to fear in trying to live your life and getting to where you want to go, and realizing that the single thing that's more powerful than fear is you. And that's where really understanding your inner power and not believing everything you think comes into play.
So, Tracy, where does it get tripped up? Where does it get tripped up from it being a biological thing, fight or flight? It's a natural thing that keeps us alive, to us giving away so much and living in fear that it's sometimes illusionary. Like, where does that get tripped up?
A lack of understanding and education. Right? I mean, that's what it's. Once you understand it, you hang out with me long enough, you will also dance with fear and fall in love with fear and understand, I'm going to go find fear because it means I'm leaving my comfort zone. And that's what we need to do in order to change. And you guys, it doesn't mean because you want to climb Machu Picchu or you're looking to like become the world's best skydiver or something grandiose. It could simply be, I don't want to be negative anymore, right? I want to stop worrying, but your comfort zone is worry. So as soon as you try to get more positive or happy, you actually trigger your fear response into thinking, oh shit, she's changing. Oh my God, it means she's going to die.
Danger, danger, danger.
Right, but it's not danger because, oh my God, how appropriate is this? Look at this, guys. I'm wearing my Fear is a Liar shirt. I didn't even realize that until just now. I did not even realize that till just now.
A Litt Factor original, baby.
It is. It is. We're the human. Yes.
Love it. Love it. So I wanted to get into this idea of not believing our thoughts, because I feel like this is a natural segue into it now. Because fear becomes some of our thoughts, or it takes the driver's seat and it starts feeding us these thoughts, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, baby. So what are some of your thoughts on number one, when we are believing what we think, and how to start moving away from that, or being cautious of, okay, this is a thought, I shouldn't necessarily believe that. How do we start moving in that direction now?
Okay, this is so awesome. So the first thing is question everything. Seriously, question everything. Do not accept any thought you think at face value, because until you start to do this kind of work, every thought you think is a product of habitual patterns of thought that came out of your past, who you've been, how you were raised, what your worldviews are, your belief systems, your fears, right? So the first thing to understand is, okay, so Tracy just taught me question everything. So any thought I think, if it doesn't help me feel how I want to feel, or it doesn't get me closer to the results that I want to create in my life or the actions I want to take, then those are the thoughts that need to go. And I need to create new thoughts that are going to help me feel how I want to feel and are going to help me take the action that I want to take in my life. Right? So far, so good.
So far, so good. And I'm taking notes right now because I want to live this.
Oh yeah, you will.
The other thing was that, like, the second you said question everything, I went into an automatic esoteric spin. I was like, oh fuck, I'm falling down the rabbit hole, right? But then, like, one of the things that I felt is going to prevent myself and folks listening to this from going into the esoteric spin is that you have to have clarity on how you want to feel and what you want out of your life. If you have no clarity, it will go into a spin where you're just asking questions the whole time, not knowing what to believe anymore. Is that what I'm picking up?
Yes. Yes. And let me expand on this for a second, because you guys need to know this. That's the difference between being a victim and being empowered. Okay. So when you are letting your mind run you and doing that thing you just said and spinning out, right? That means that you are believing that you are your mind. Okay, just sit here with me for a second. However, what I am teaching you and telling you as truth with a TH at the end is you are not your mind. It's just that nobody taught you this until now. You are not your mind. Stick with me. You have an arm. You have a leg. If I want to smack five with you, I direct my arm to go like this. If I want to kick a soccer ball, I direct my leg to kick the soccer ball, right? It is up to you to direct your mind to align up into how you want to feel and what it is you want to be standing in your life, which is why having vision and understanding, you know what, today I want to feel, let's say I want to feel peaceful. And then an hour into your day, you're getting triggered and you're feeling really pissed off. Right? Which is why, like, getting clear on what you want to do, how you want to feel is important, because that's the only way to know that you're out of alignment from feeling that way.
Yeah.
Right? So then you get to stop and you go, wait a second. So I can feel myself feeling shitty. That must mean my thoughts are shitty. If you're feeling anxious, you're thinking anxious. If you're feeling frustrated, you're thinking frustrated thoughts. And then you pause and you go up into your head and find the thought. Like, find the statement or the story that you keep running over and over again. Write it down on a piece of paper. And what happens when you write it down is now you're learning, oh, I'm not my mind, because now I'm the being that's looking at the thought on the paper. I'm not the thought. The thought's not me. Now I can trash it. I can rewrite the story. I can change the thought. And that's the best way to explain neuroplasticity, because it's hard to understand when you talk about it from a neuroscience standpoint. But ultimately, you guys just think on purpose, right? Yeah. I just said to somebody the other day, I said, don't you dare leave your thoughts unattended. Like a little kid in an amusement park.
Don't true. Do it. That is so true. And I'm freaking nerding out right now because there's a psychological term that we think our thoughts are our subject. They're part of us, right? And to remove it and make it an object means that it's external from us. And when it's external from us, we can go fucking condo method on it and trash it and tidy up, right? We can get look at you, magic hands it.
Yes, that's what mind magic is all about.
Yeah,
that is what it is. That is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing that we're doing, and for those of you tuning in, we're talking about this idea that not believing everything you think. And so the first thing, the precursor to that is, well, what do you want to feel? How do you want to live? What do you want from your life? When you get that in order, that becomes your North Star to follow. And then we can go and say, okay, these thoughts are object, and I can scrap that shit if I want. Yes. I'm not at the mercy of my thoughts anymore. It's very freeing. It's very liberating. And it's not one, not the other. It's start with what you want, then you discard what you don't want in terms of thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. What else are we talking about here? What else after that? Well, in terms of questioning everything, and then.
Oh, okay. I think another variable, because something I hear a lot is, well, but that's what I feel, but that's what I think. You've believed yourself for so long. You believed yourself for so long that you're in habits of thinking. And the slippery slope part is nothing that you're experiencing is reality. And yes, we have to go a little up to come back down. Right? Nothing you experience is reality. Everything you're experiencing is merely your perception of what's true, which is why you'll hear me say things like truth with a TH at the end versus true, because what's true for you is not reality. It's simply your perception, which is why as you commit to questioning everything and living a life based in not believing everything you think, right? Then you're able to really shift and really start to go, wait a second, there's like 1,729 other ways to see this situation. I can pick any of those, right? And really understand how powerful you are. This is what inner power is.
Yep.
So understanding that is also a huge, huge component to it.
And what I love about that is how easy this part makes step one seem so simple, right? And step one is hard as fuck, right? Questioning everything. But we can say, oh, okay, I've got the truth down. But then when push comes to shove, we tend to go back to our old school value systems that were limiting us in the first place, right? Whereas this nothing you're experiencing is reality really means that you have the power to choose your own adventure here, baby. You have the power to choose your own adventure. And we sometimes forget it, especially when we're feeling a little bit of stress, when we're feeling the catabolosity of it all, right? What I want to ask you now is, let's say that somebody they've been questioning things, and you've been working with plenty of clients to probably have seen this. They've been questioning things and they're like, holy shit, Lester, Litt, Tracy, whatever the 3 word names I want to call you today, whatever order I want. Everything that I believed, it's almost a lie right now. Like, and I'm really, I don't know what to believe anymore. Have you had people go into that place with you, where they've gotten rid of their maybe their limiting values, the values that don't serve them, the thoughts that don't serve them, and then they're like, I don't know what to replace it with. I don't know what to do.
Here's what's interesting about that. There's always a little bit of fear when you are doing deep transformational change, because you have to be willing to a mourn the death of the identity you've been up until now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where that comes from, right? It's like, oh my God, like, I don't know, who the fuck am I if I'm not a total stressed, overwhelmed badge of honor warrior? Right? Who am I? Who am I if I'm not hustling till I die?
Well,
right?
it is true. And then also at the same time, to just build upon that, there's the expectation that that identity needs to show up to the groups that they've been a part of. So as a person is maybe clearing a house, some people might be like, nah, you're in my friend group. You're not allowed to think above a certain level or below. You're supposed to serve a certain function for all of us. Like, and so I can see stress happening when someone is beginning to experience the big T, right? And then the group around them is like, no, you're losing your shit.
This
is gold. Fly.
This is gold. This is gold. Okay. I just did a live on this last night in the Choice Experiment group. Right so on. This is exactly why learning how to run your mind is the fucking gateway to everything you've ever wanted in your entire life. It is the closest thing to a human handbook any of us will ever get. Okay? Because in that moment, right, when you're changing and you're becoming this, like, your epic, amazing, best version 2.0 of yourself, whatever you want to call it, and the people that have been in your life up until now, they're responding and reacting to your shifts and your changes. If you aren't running your mind, you will give your power away to their approval and what they think.
Totally it. That's totally
right.
It. That's totally
of course it is. Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Well, of course it is. But this is what I see the most. I just got the chills. Whenever my body gives me chills, it's like I know we're going somewhere good. So it's important to start thinking and embedding this particular thought. I'm going to give you guys a gift. What people think about me is none of my business. Right? What people think about me is none of my business. I am my own approval. Because if you fall prey to giving your power away to what people think about you when you're changing, you are walking up to them and you're basically saying, you know, this change feels really good and I'm happier than I was before, but you're probably not as happy with me as you were before. So here, take my power because your opinion of me is more important than my opinion of me. Fuck that, everybody. Okay? I'm sorry. Fuck that. Life is too short. Life is too short and life is too long for you to live like that.
Life is too short and life is too long. Lisa's giving a big old amen.
Hey,
Amber, it's good to see you in here. And I'm glad that you brought it up because it was something that came up in one of my groups last night as well. Is in terms of changing and losing groups because of it, losing friends because of that change.
Yes, I need to add something because it'll benefit you, to benefit them, and benefit everybody here. Here's the other thing. The closer you step to who you truly are, which is who's underneath all the layers when you start to grow, right? And you allow yourself to shed the people that aren't in alignment anymore or aren't responding supportively, right? That's awesome because they were never your people. And they were only your people when you were exhaustively not being who you are. So it's like, either way, awesome.
It is true. It is true. Either way, awesome. You know, one of the ways that I think about it is sort of, you know, we've come this far in the journey, and it is now time for me to thank you and peacefully send you off on your way because I no longer serve you, and this is just not working anymore. And you know, it's time to do our thing. Now, I wanted to throw something else out there that is, again, when you talk about the growth. Litt, I'm loving this, by the way.
Me too.
Okay, when you talk about growth, I love what you were doing with your hands. You were talking about the tension of growth, right? So you were doing this, and it was almost as if you were creating a rubber band in front of us. And one of the things about a rubber band is that if you don't freeze that rubber band, it snaps back to the way it is. And so I'm thinking about this idea, and the pre-show notes are saying it too. I'm thinking about this idea that, well, you know what? I'm stretching myself. My friends are pushing back and dude, that's not you. You've always been this. And now I'm beginning to think, well, guess what? That's just the way that I am. It's just the way I am. I tried, but this is just sort of the way that I am. What is your thoughts on that specifically, that quote? That's just the way that I am.
It's total bullshit. And
I love your fuck you with the smile. It's probably the best one I've ever seen.
Thank you.
It's total bullshit.
It's total bullshit, right? Stop kidding yourself, right? Because that is what it is. And truly, 40 years ago, that statement was true. 40 years ago, you were allowed to say, this is just how I am. It's always been the way I am. This is just who I am. Mm-hmm. The research and conclusion of our malleability, of the fact that we're plastic, of the fact that we can break up with parts of ourselves and create new parts of ourselves and change our thoughts to change our life practically, right, in application, happened 35-ish years ago, give or take, right? So now it's bullshit because you can change. It's not just, oh, I take things personally. It's just the way I am. I'm a total neat freak. That's just the way I am. I'm such a controller. It's just the way I am. The only thing that matters is it serving you? Right? Like if you dig being a neat freak and you love it and it serves you, then great. This isn't about judgment or coming from what you need to do. This is about if a part of you is getting in your way, then you need to take a look at it and change. And when you tell yourself that's just the way I am, realize, because you're running your mind now, that's a directive to your mind. And one of the laws of your mind is that it will always do exactly what it thinks you want it to do, which is why every word you speak is like a blueprint that your mind works to make a reality, right? So that's just the way I am. Your mind goes, sweet, we got nothing to do here. What's for dinner?
Well, the thing that I love about that is that let's break the fourth wall on this. I mean, you've already busted the fourth fucking wall down. Like we're just running around naked at this point. But
that's my favorite.
Yeah. So one of the things though is for those of you who and I want to challenge folks watching, for those of you who are seeing this and listening to Litt say, well, that's a bunch of bullshit, and you're automatically saying, well, that's a bunch of bullshit back. I want to argue with you, blah 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 blah. That could be your mind saying, I think it's the truth, but don't change. Don't change because it's scary to. So remember step one, question everything. Question the fact that, is this bullshit? But also question the fact that, why am I feeling this tension right now? It could be that fear is, or that tension is giving you an indicator that this is a place to go and explore right now. Our bodies are talking to ourselves all the time, y'all. And sometimes we're not listening to it. So if you are feeling a resistance, it's not necessarily because Litt is right or wrong. It could be because that's something that you should be exploring with yourself. So just to throw it out there, Litt, it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
It's just bullshit.
Yeah. It's just bullshit. And with getting rid of thoughts, we've been going into thoughts a lot in mindset. Where does personal responsibility come into all of this?
Oh, I love you for asking me that.
I love you for filling out the pre-survey.
Yeah. This is how magic happens behind the scenes, everybody. That's right. Okay, so radical personal responsibility, as I teach it and coach it, is actually, we're going to make that number one, right? So one is question everything. You can't do anything unless you're willing to fully take radical responsibility. Radical meaning all encompassing, absolutely everything, leave no stone unturned. It's all me, for me. It always has been. It always will be. That's what it means, right? Really owning it. Because let me not say can't. You're unable to consistently choose and direct your mind if you're not willing to take responsibility and say, oh, I am the director. I am the one in charge, right? Like ultimately.
Are you saying that nothing is ever anyone else's fault?
Yeah, I am.
Just making sure.
Yeah. So, and let me clarify because, and I love this because when when I shake you up or when you get a little pissed at me, I love it because it means that, well, number one, I'm unoffendable, but number two, it means that I am hitting something in you that needs to be shaken up. Right. So when you are really living your best you and you are taking radical personal responsibility, you are saying to yourself, I am going to call every ounce of my own bullshit. I am done with my excuses. I am done with my reasons. I am done with my rationalizations. I am done with my justifications. I am no longer going to say, well, because. I am going to either have the reality and the results that I want, right? Or I'm going to have a list of all the reasons why I haven't gotten there. And it's your ability to get rid of all of that stuff because we're so good at it. We're so good at spewing the excuses. I don't have enough time. My husband travels. My kid's schedule is so busy. I don't have enough money. It's so hard. The industry is so saturated. Online so noisy. Like, lists and lists and lists of fucking bullshit. But that it is. And then you turn around and you bitch and complain about why you're not where you want to be. You don't get to have both.
What do you like when you're mad?
Oh, I don't really get. I know.
I figured you live your life at volume 11, and then when you turn it down, you just get real still and quiet and listen to the universe.
You know what's so interesting about that? Like, I'm not a yeller at all. I'm not I don't really get mad. I am the kind of like wife or mother, let's say, to use those examples. Mm-hmm. Like if the milk spills on the counter, I'll be like, are you kidding me? Like I'll have like a quick reaction, but like something colossal happens, like something bad happened at school or my kids did something wrong that other people like, I'd be like, okay, like I'm just like super calm. It's really interesting. I think my dad and my mom are like that too. So
I love it. And you have Carrie and Amber all lit up. I totally agree. We make excuses not to deal with things. Absolutely, yes. Carrie. Amber, you got the audience cursing, Lit. Own your own bullshit. Truth with a capital TH. It sounds like someone who's been lit by the Lit Factor before. Awesome having you guys interact here. So one of the things that I'm thinking about, or there's two things actually.
Yeah.
One is this pre-work of radical responsibility, just the way that you frame it is so profound that I can see almost overnight, if you adopt that mindset of being personally responsible on a radical level, like people talk about making quantum jumps. I see quantum jumps being able to be made like overnight as a result of adopting that. Would you agree?
100%.
Okay. So like, don't worry about the price, Pritchett shit and stuff like that. Read it if you want to, but this is a big deal when it comes to radical personal responsibility. Right. Another thing that I'm thinking about when it comes to this is the work of Viktor Frankl. This was a cat in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. He's in a fucking concentration camp. He's seeing his friends and his family being lost. He's seeing people be tortured in inhumane fucking ways. And he says to himself, you can take away all my freedoms, you sucker MCs, but you can't take away my freedom to choose how happy or how I respond to you. That's radical personal responsibility. And that cat, I mean, you want to talk outcomes, that guy lived to tell the day. Like he hoped every single day and he couldn't wait to tell this story to other people. You talk about radical personal responsibility when people are being stripped of their hope, being able to say, no, you can't strip everything from me. You can take my clothes, you can torture me, you can put me in pain, but I can respond however I want.
Yeah, he was way before his time. He understood almost what was really possible in our minds from a directing your mind standpoint before neuroscience understood what the possibilities were, right? Because one of the things that he teaches or he talked about that's similar to something I teach, it's called the space between, right? So he talks about you have a stimulus and then you always have a feeling, right? So his circumstance was this torturous abuse, right? And that if he was a victim of himself, it would have driven him into feeling terrible. Like, I mean, how do you even explain that? I can't even explain it. Shitty, desperate, hopeless, just the lowest of the lowest of the low, given the horrendousness of what he experienced, right? We all have stimulus. I refer to it as events and circumstances, right? Something goes on. It's always going to create a feeling, but your power lies in the space between, in your ability to choose how you're going to see that stimulus or that circumstance, thus driving yourself into a chosen feeling instead of by default into a, let's give a super everyone can relate example. Guy cuts you off. What a fucking dick. I'm so pissed off. Right? But then this is what we think. We have to be real. This is what we think. We don't think, oh, lovely day. That's not what we think. Right? And instantly, now you're in a bad mood. You walk in your house 5 minutes later. You give your spouse an attitude, right? You flip out on your kids, all because of that instance triggered you. And now you're, uppity.
Yep, absolutely. It happens on a regular basis. I was just
perfect.
I think something that I see quite often is we're in a plane that and my guest said this yesterday. How funny is it that a plane can take you across the world in literally milliseconds, but we bitch and moan like when we're stuck on the tarmac for about 10 minutes, right? That's us responding to the stimulus. That's us being a victim to the stimulus,
Yes, that is what it means to live a life based on how good or bad the last external circumstance that happened to you was. Right?
It's the Litt factor on the golden mic, people.
That is, it is the highest level of victimhood, right?
It's huge.
So the space between there in both those examples becomes, guy cuts you off. You feel yourself, because you've got also self-awareness is key. You feel yourself, ooh, what's going on here? Mindfulness. Maybe he has a 10-month pregnant wife in the car. Maybe he's running to the hospital. Whatever, no big deal. It wasn't about me. He didn't go, hey, I'm going to speed up there to that black Atlas and cut her off on purpose. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your ego needs to calm down. It's not about you, right? And then you're able to stay calm and chill. And now your whole day is better for it. Same thing on the tarmac. To your point, you can go, it's okay if we sit on the tarmac for an hour. I'm being lifted up in this like 20,000 ton machine flying across the world. And by tonight I'll be in London. And I'm bitching about what? What?
It's amazing. You're out of my snacks, you fuckers. I really wanted those 50-cent pretzels, fuckers. Lisa's feeling it. Badass. You got Lisa cursing up in here.
I love you, Lisa.
It's the Litt factor. Crystal's feeling it.
Crystal's another badass.
So let's talk about this, Litt. We're doing the pre-work. Radical personal responsibility. We're questioning everything. Our thoughts are just not. They're just not our thoughts. We're making them object. Fuck it. It's not just the way that it is, right? Now, how do we actually operationalize this for the long term? What's the single most important thing we need to know about this, about why changing takes, I guess, practice and consistency?
Yes. So, well, the first thing is, or how do you do it long term? It's that it's practice and consistency. It's understanding.
I love that question.
Well, no. It's good because I really want to explain this because it's necessary for everybody to understand. Okay, so practice and consistency is everything. And I want to bring to light something because I find people do this with personal growth and transformation, but they don't do it elsewhere. So let's say you were going to, lose 20 pounds and get a 6-pack, right?
Okay.
You wouldn't dare go to the gym for 2 weeks and then call me and go, where's my 6-pack? I only lost 2 pounds. But when you're trying to get your mind right and change your life, your impatience is out of fucking control. Right? I'm right. Patience, people. You have conditioned yourself to be this way for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. realize that this is going to take us more than a couple months. This is going to be an ongoing thing. I still run my mind when a new occurrence comes up, when something comes at me. Like you said, we don't live with unicorns and rainbows. This is the work. This is the work. Consistency, consciousness, being aware of what's happening, and utilizing your power of choice is the work. Nobody is ever done. It's not a destination. It's a journey, moment to moment, every single day. Right? Now, let me answer the first part of the question. Why is change so hard? Why is change so hard? Why does it feel like sometimes you're pushing a boulder up a mountain and it keeps rolling on top of you? Why? I will tell you why. Because, and this is also why radical personal responsibility comes back in every day, right? Because if you aren't experiencing the change you want, it means you're not working a component of the work. Because what happens naturally through that conditioning I referenced, right? Like I'm going to just use the worry example because it's really common. So if you have been someone who, used to be really proud of the worrier that you are, oh my God, I'm such a worrier. I worry all the time. I can't stop worrying, right? And you've been that way. And let's say you're 45 years old and you start doing this work. And the first couple of weeks, you're like, I'm like happy. You're thinking positive psychology. I'm thinking great thoughts. I'm really in control. I'm choosing. And then you're like, wait a second, but my worry thoughts are still here. Like I woke up in a hot sweat and oh my God, and I'm still worrying. Why? Here's why. When you have conditioned your cells, okay, you guys were just energy, right? We're just energy that is vibrating at such a frequency that we show up as human beings. So we're just a system of cells, right? You have conditioned those cells to be nurtured and fed by worry. Thoughts of worry is what has kept you going your entire life. So when you try to change, and this is how I want you to picture it, I write about this in my book, right? You try to change, it's like all of a sudden, all those cells in your body get together in the center of your stomach, and they hold a meeting with picket signs. And they're like, oh, hell no. What is she trying to do up there? Where is all of this happiness coming from? Why isn't she worrying? We're going to die if she doesn't start worrying right now. Shoot some thoughts up there that get her to start worrying, because that's the only way your system knows how to live.
You need to be the director of the next Pixar movie. What was that Pixar movie about the thoughts and the feelings?
With the emotions. Yes,
it just needs to be. It's going to be rated R though. Next when it comes out, shoot some fucking thoughts up there.
Yeah, exactly. But literally, because that's what makes change your responsibility. Because it's like really realizing, wait, it is every day, and it's cool. You fall off track. Be gentle with yourself, be compassionate, be like, it's all good. I'm going to recommit. I'm going to realign. I'm going to do the work again. You don't get to beat yourself up. It's unacceptable. Right? You're too worthy and too enough to treat yourself like shit. No.
You're a bulldog and an angel at the same time. I absolutely, with a potty mouth. I absolutely love it. Litt, guess what? We went into flow, sister. That was an hour. Wow. We have to have you back. You back. I have a new podcast and I want you to be on it. It's amazing. So we'll have Litt back. I'm stumbling over my own words. I know it's time to go, but littfactor.com, cut the crap. What are we going to get when we go to littfactor.com, cut the crap?
Cool. So that's something free. There is actually a huge 17 shift audio course that you'll check out after that. But this is your entry. These are 3 shifts I'm having you make. I'm giving you actual theory, workbook pages. So you're going to get 3 of what I believe to be the most essential shifts to make to start to change. And actually the first one is radical personal responsibility. And I walk you through how to figure out what your current line of bullshit and excuses are.
What your current line of bullshit is. I love you. Your delivery is amazing on that. Litt, what's choice experiment. Is that the same? Oh. Is that the same piece, or is that something different?
No, it's different. Okay. And I want every single one of you to click the link and get into the choice experiment. Here's what it is. Choice experiment starts March 4th. Okay. But up until March 4th, I am live and coaching and teaching in the choice experiment Facebook group. And starting March 4th to March 8th, it is 5 days of deep dive working with me, where I am teaching you things. We're working mindset. You're looking at areas of your life. It is you learning what it actually means to access your power of choice in the most powerful, powerful way. And then at the end of our 5 days together, we have an insane masterclass where I teach you all kinds of great mindset things, like live on Zoom. So we'll be like this together. And then enrollment for Mind Magic opens at the end of the experiment. And Mind Magic is my 9-week transformational live online program that is the best piece of work I've ever done in my life.
And don't make your book jealous right now. Don't make your book jealous right now. Your book is like, what the fuck? I'm the best piece of work you've ever done. How's that going?
Amazing. It's with the publisher right now. We're doing interior design and book cover. It will be out mid-May, and it's called Worthy Human.
Okay, so we're going to have you back to talk about the other baby that's going to be out in May. But right now, the place to be is the choice experiment. You got a free 5-day choice experiment challenge that's going on. And then we've got the best work of Tracy's life. I like to think that the second best work of Tracy's life was this appearance on the Golden Mic. But
I love it. I love it.
Tracy tends to contend with that.
It's Amber. Just so fun. It's so fun. We are all worthy humans. Exactly. Yep. That's the underbelly of everything. That is the underbelly mission of my life, is to restore every single one of your faiths in your enoughness. Right? Things happen to you and you think that it's some indication or influence on your worth. It's not. Your worth is your birthright. That's what allows you to take responsibility, guys, because nothing's a reflection of you anyway.
I think there's a misspelling here. Tracy's the fucking bomb. I love her blunt honesty. I think we all can. We all love her blunt honesty. I was laughing at it was just so joyful to be in this moment with you. We'll definitely have you back, everybody. This is a very, very special person that we've had on, Tracy Litt, today. And I'm out of my wrestling character now, Tracy. I think you can tell I'm a very quiet guy outside of the scenes, and to see somebody like you when I was an up and coming coach, it just means a lot to me. And I've never been able to say that or send you that message, and I wish I had at the time, but I'm glad that I get to tell you this now. This is why the show's called the Golden Mic. I don't think you're going to have a problem with this exercise right now, because a golden mic is coming from your ceiling right now, Tracy Litt. And before you go and celebrate your anniversary out of town this weekend, this golden mic is stopping. And the power of this golden mic is that it translates into every language all across the world. Tracy Litt, Lester, the world is listening to what you have to say. They're all ears right now. When I flip the golden mic, you're live. Tracy Litt, Lester, your golden mic is live now.
You are enough. You are worthy, and you are deserving of nothing less than anything you can dream of and every desire you have ever had. You are limitless. Run your mind, own your worth, and don't you dare tolerate getting to the end of your life with any regret.
Litt, I want you to hold that golden mic because somebody else is going to take it next. Now I want you to smash that golden mic like you did when you were in a band. Smash that thing to pieces because you just dropped it. You just dropped it. Tracy Litt has been on the Golden Mic 118. Now this is the thing, y'all. We're going to turn off the golden mic now, and we're going to celebrate with other humans in person. I'm getting away from social media so I can spend time with my nephews. Litt's about to go on a wonderful vacation. Enjoy that vacation. But before we turn off the golden mic, what we have for you is this. Litt and I have a question for you. If you're feeling good, if you're feeling happy, and you're living life to your full purpose, what is your responsibility to changing history for the better? This is Golden Mike. We'll see you all soon. Thanks, Tracy.
You're amazing. I love this. Bye, guys.
Likewise.